due to recent media and hearings of other artists doing pretty bad stuff, I always like to ask the question of why, because it explains everything. The question why tells you everything. You don't need to know what, where, when you have why. Do you know what I mean? To answer that, I have to make up analogies because I can't personally ask the source, especially when it's on social media. But, my why today is the idea of why do bad people, most of the time, tend to make great stuff? Or bad people that we didn't know were bad tend to turn bad and or show their true colors, and they've made amazing art and just amazing stuff that everyone enjoys and they're well respected and loved from it. And to that, I think it's pretty obvious. They are not your average brained person. Okay, in order to be the greatest, you mentally have to be stronger, more efficient than the average human being. Your average artist is not thinking like, when they were in high school or whatever, when they were at a young age, they weren't probably thinking like everybody else. Probably not. No way. Because they wouldn't be who they are now, right? So for the most part, I just think it's the uniqueness of their brain and how they think and how their mindset is. And what I mean by that is because they're unique, they're deemed weird socially. And so these weirdos become big and popular because they don't think like everyone else. And then boom, bam, bop, you got a good artist, right? The problem comes in, though, when, your non-average individual who doesn't think like the average individual obviously is not going to have the average beliefs or the common sense beliefs or morals or ideas about life than you think they would have. Of course you have tons of exceptions to this, but for the most part, no. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't expect your non-average person to have average beliefs, or average as in like common beliefs, because they're already in a whole nother universe. Let's get real. They're already thinking about some that's you're probably not going to think of in a million years. You know what I mean? So because they don't have the average unique brain, I just don't think it's possible to expect them to be normal. They're not going to be your normal person. And that's no excuse for the things certain artists have been doing and saying recently. But I think it's definitely something to keep in mind when you see them do that. And what do you do? I think personally, that is up to the interpreter. Me personally, I would look at them in a way, not sympathy, but definitely apathy. I just think I would just look at him. I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't really do much, because it's like, you already have a lot going on. I already know your brain is probably scrambled eggs compared to my hard-boiled brain. So I can't compete with that. We're two different forms. But yeah, I think that's really what it is. It's just, these are unique people that are, of course, going to have unique and different views and thoughts and mindsets and brains and beliefs and morals. But I digress. No excuses for the behaviors they do. No excuses for the behaviors they present. But I will say, this is something that we can think about. They are not average in the brain.